to live righteously.
It's time for another episode of The Cultural Hall. It is, in fact, an Articles of News episode. So we get to hear Brother Kyle, and we know it. He's here, of course. What's up, dude?
Hey, you can see me right there. We know I'm here.
Well, Patreon saints of The Cultural Hall can see you. If they aren't a Patreon saint, by going to patreon.com/The Cultural Hall, they can't see that you're here.
Well, it's worth the price of admission just to see me.
Yeah, you are worth it.
Right.
Man,
right?
That is a handsome mug worth checking out on the weekly. Brother Kyle on Patreon, for sure. Did you get a little bit of sun? You're not looking your normal paled skin, at least.
It's summertime. It's summertime, yeah.
Yeah.
I got the tan going on, you know?
The greatest farmer tan I have ever seen.
Working out in the field, you get tan.
Well, sure.
So when I go to the beach and I take off my shirt or my my shorts.
Now that's worth the price of admission right there.
It looks like I'm still wearing my garmies.
Yeah. I love that you, because I know it's during a work day for you right now. Your work attire.
Yeah. Is T-shirt and shorts.
Yeah. Board shorts, not just shorts, board shorts.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Very because I work from home. Yeah. So no reason. I don't go out.
I'm dying. Hang on one second.
Richie's dying. But yeah, I don't leave the home. If I do, it's in spandex on a bike. See, if you could see, the Patreon group can see it now. Richie took a drink, water just spewed all over his shirt.
This is going well so far. We are crushing
He's a mess.
Man, can't breathe. I had some granola. I'm discovering things a little bit late. Are you a granola eater?
On occasion.
Yeah.
I have been.
Have you tried fancy granolas before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just in the last year have really leaned into fancy granolas. They're real good.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. I mean, they're real, a lot of calorie dense, lots of calorie density.
They are very, very, and expensive.
Yeah. But like occasionally I like to treat myself with something from the fancy end of the grocery store.
Sure.
And I'm like, and I did that today, and it was fresh, dried apple pieces in it, and I just was like, this is heaven, but a little bit of it has been cut in my throat. In addition to biking, as we can see by your sweet farmer tan, that really is worth the price of admission, watching Brother Kyle show you his thigh. What have you been up to, just biking? Yeah,
I had a bicycle pedaling contest on Saturday. At Antelope Island. It was a memorial race, one for a friend of mine, member of the LDS Church. We did a story on him a year ago who was killed in a bike accident. And it was the last race that we will do at Antelope Island.
Because of the buzz?
Reason being is they are limiting now events there to 50 maximum people.
Ever?
For now.
Is it a COVID thing?
It's not COVID because they let us have the race,
right.
This year with, hundreds and hundreds of people. But I think it's more of a just environmental or something, something else, not COVID related. So we'd done this race for 20 years, probably.
Wow.
And this year we waited until June until it heated up so it wouldn't be chilly. And on Saturday we waited for my group to race until 11:50. And so that it would heat up because we didn't want it to be under 90.
Yeah.
So we waited till it was 95.
Sure.
And then we raced. I became very ill and heat stroke. So actually, I rarely quit a race, but I quit 10 miles short because I had run out of water. And when I, would vomit, you try and hold it in, with your hand and swallow it down so that you don't lose that valuable nutrients and
moisture.
But eventually when I was throwing up, nothing was coming out. And so I decided I better stop because I'm not in the best health right now. So I quit the race at that point.
Well, if you would have pushed on, it would have been a memorial race for you next year. So perspective.
Exactly.
Perspective.
And, I have something else about myself, but I'm going to wait until I have a story actually that ties into it. So I'll save the other medical thing with me for later.
Okay.
Actually. But that was my weekend, and just trying to stay cool, like everybody wrote in my yearbook every year in junior high and high school. And I still am trying to stay cool.
Stay cool. And did they give you your number? Have a fun summer. Stay cool. And then when you actually call them, you're like, no, that's not how this works, Kyle. We don't actually want you to call us. We just put the number in the yearbook. Please don't call. That's
no one gave me their number ever. Not once.
Worse than the don't actually call. If people haven't checked out some of the most recent episodes that we've shared, we did an episode. The University of Illinois Press is doing a big series on thought leaders within the LDS Church, and I talked to a couple of the editors. That was this last Monday's episode, so people should check that out. We talked to Norman Hill, and it's been fun to hear what people have said about that episode, because we talk a lot about the church in Africa and seeing what that's all about. And then also the episode with Ben Shalati. He works in the Honor Code office at BYU. He is gay. He is open about that. They know about that. And he hosts a podcast with Charlie Bird, a previous guest of the Cultural Hall, also has a book. And so people have really liked that episode as well. So I encourage you to check those out. At the very least, won't you please subscribe to the Cultural Hall? That way you don't miss an episode. If you want to take it one step further, you can be a part of the Cultural Hall Back Row, which is a group of people that are on Facebook. It's 200 plus strong now. People nerding out and talking about the things that they love for the Cultural Hall, etc. And then if you want to take it one step further, as we already mentioned, you can go to patreon.com/The Cultural Hall, which is actually what leads me to this email. I should say thank you to the Instagram channel at Utah Taste Off. They sponsor our emails. You can send us an email, contact@theculturalhall.com. I asked if I could share this person's name, and he said, sure, go ahead. So I'm going to. His name is Brent. He sent me an email the other day that says, hey, do you know of other podcasts that are good for like faith promoting stories? I'm getting really tired of all of the homosexual, women in the priesthood, the church needs to do stuff. And he's, of course, talking about the Cultural Hall, right? Mm-hmm. Now, to give a little context for people that are listening to that, Brent is a Patreon saint. When you hear us say, special thanks to Cake Bites Podcast, to Big Mike's Products, and also to Brother Brent. He is the Brent of Brother Brent that we thank at the end. He is the celestial tier Patreon saint. And so I responded, Brent, you're leaving me? Meaning he wanted something else. Are you leaving me? And he said, I'm still going to listen to the new ones, but if I feel like the topic is something that I really want to hear, but I'm done with the groups and the back catalog. I don't need the aggravation. I don't need the contention. I want to focus on the things of Christ and not listen to people who want to put down the church. And I'm going to stop my Patreon subscription because I don't feel like it's something I can do anymore. And I thought about this, and I thought, am I misguided? Have I allowed this to be a platform where people who are, discontent with the church, they get a pulpit to be able to speak from? Is that what this has become? I thought, have I, misguided everyone who listens to this? Do I do too much of this? Is it out of balance? And so I sort of, have stewed on it and decided that I wanted to bring it up in this episode. And I'm actually hoping that people can help place this for you in your life, in your faith journey, how the Cultural Hall has either helped or hindered in ways that maybe I haven't considered yet, or that Brent is not considering. So I will say a couple of things here, but then I want to open it up and we'll address it in our next articles of news as well. It's contact@theculturalhall.com. Please email us. This is an opportunity for those that are long-timers, or if this is your first episode, to really be able to weigh in and let us know where you're at and what you benefit from. Or if we are misguided, feel free to send that as well. I think the thing that I would take away from is this. One, I think that more than other shows that are available in podcast, I think that we talk about those things more, and we certainly talk about it more than we do in church. And that's one of the things in like our, in our church meetings or in sacrament. And that's one of the things that I'm particularly proud of, that we are having conversations that aren't otherwise had. Now, sometimes those conversations can be silly things like, oh, this is a dumb cultural thing we do. Sometimes those things can be, faith promoting. This is when Christ saved me and I turned away from my addictions, whatever the thing may be. But also that this is a place to have conversations where it's like, I'm here, I am faithful, but also this thing, I really struggle with this, or this thing really bothers me, or I don't know why the church continues to do this. And that's a sticking point for me. So that was one thing that I sort of thought about. And again, contact@theculturalhall.com. The second thing that I sort of thought is I recognized, because he and I correspond quite a bit actually, where he is at in his listening, his backlog listening of the Cultural Hall. And it's interesting to me to note this, and this didn't come to me until I think just yesterday, but if you think about it, when you drop into the Cultural Hall, you are looking at a decade plus of my life, right? You're on about 50% of the episodes for the last couple of years, so people can kind of follow your journey. But if you listen, whether in the way that I insert some personal things when I'm interviewing people or when we talk about current events in the news episodes, people are able to get a sketch of the last decade of my life. When I started, I was married to someone who is not my wife currently. I had a child as a young teenager that I was trying to navigate. And so all that to say, I think that he is in the time when I was either separated or divorced. And it was a really rough time for me, sort of with the church, with God, with sorting everything out. And so I wonder if during that time, because, this is a project that I work on and a lot of it reflects things that I'm interested in or where my attention is focused, as he's listening back, I can't help but wonder if maybe it's just a product of its time in my life those years ago.
And I remember that when I started on the program, I was actually single.
Yeah.
And now, well, never mind. But it's been a while.
You're promised.
Am I promised?
I mean, I don't know if she gave you a promise ring. I know you guys certainly aren't engaged or pinned.
I'm not 17.
Yeah.
I am not.
You're hoping that she takes you to the cotillion coming up?
I hope after her mission that she remembers me, or that I stay and I stay faithful to her.
Yeah. Lock your heart, Elder. Lock your heart. No, but to that point, I don't think you were dating her when we started this whole thing. So that is a different life thing. Your kid graduated from high school, and certainly the things recently with health. It's an interesting snapshot. And so I don't think the conversation with Brent is over. I don't think that he's mad, in conversations that we've had that I won't share from beyond that email. I said, I have a tremendous amount of respect for people who know where their boundaries are and can say, hey, you know what? I don't think I can support this monetarily if I'm having this much strife with listening to it. But sure. I would suppose that Brent will listen to this. And so to Brent, I would just tell you, at least at this point, those are sort of my thoughts around this. But I would also, again, encourage those folks to email us, contact@theculturalhall.com. Love to have you be a part of that conversation as well. What benefit the fact that we cover so many subjects here in the Cultural Hall have for you, and why we should even do it. And you know what? If people don't email, maybe we don't do it anymore. Maybe this is the last one, Brother Kyle.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people don't email, maybe we pack it up, put it in a little box.
Find some other part-time gig. I don't know how I'm going to support my family.
Yeah. I mean, the cents that this pours in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even pay you cents. Let's be honest. The distraction, I don't know what it is. I appreciate you always being here. The other thing I was going to say, Brother Kyle, I have a destination for you. You know how occasionally, because you're such an awesome salesperson, they say, here, have a truck ton of money and go somewhere fun?
Yeah.
I want you to write this down, and I'm being serious.
Okay.
I don't see a pen in your hand, so I'm going to wait.
I'm pulling up right now a thing to write it out. Okay.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
This is a driving vacation because you're going to take your bike with you. So it's road trip, Maybe you take your pseudo family. Maybe you just go you and your kid. I want you to write this down. LOPEZ space island. And you need to go there. And people
Island.
And people hearing this will go, "Oh, I know where that is." Others will go, "What in the world?" You want to go there in the smack middle of the summer because the hottest it gets there, Brother Kyle, is like 72 degrees. And it's
that's quite a drive.
Well, sure, it's about 13 or 14 hours. You have to take a ferry.
Geez.
It's basically Canada.
That's not a drive.
I did it in a day. 4 or 5 days ago. You'd be fine.
It looks wonderful.
It's unreal. It's a biking island.
On or off-road, mountain or road, biking island.
Both.
Really?
Gorgeous, small town, affordable, cool, busy on the weekends, vacant on the weekdays. Take your kid or your pseudo family and you'll love it. Anyone else as well.
Really?
Yep. Only Kyle, though. Don't make it overpopulated like Arches National Park in Utah, which no one can go to if you're not there by 7:34 in the morning.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I've got. You want to take a break and do some actual news?
Okay. Got it.
Imagine running a small business today. It's challenging. Imaging and internet presence is an absolute must. Even with that, you're still a small star in a bright cyber universe. Now, imagine you have someone who understands how to get your site designed for your talents and then easily searched by potential clients. Imagine Lennon Design. Whether it's strictly a website or a whole package of logo creation, advertising media, and promotional materials, Lennon Design is your partner in business. They'll test the boundaries of their imagination to create something unique for you. When you need creative, affordable design, let it be Lennon Design. Call 801-699-3022 or visit LennonDesign.com.
A busy full summer from Best DJ in Utah. Go to bestdjinutah.com. Why, that is me, Richie T, and I would love to be able to play music at your upcoming wedding, or maybe you're having a company party, or maybe you're thinking already for the holiday party. Whatever it is that's on your schedule, you should get the #1 highest rated DJ for the state of Utah. Now, I know you're thinking, I don't even live in Utah, Richie. Would you ever do an event in Washington State? Oh, I've already done that before. Would you ever do an event in California? Been there too. How about Louisiana? Texas, yes. Point is, you throw shekels my way, I'll come to wherever you're at. We could even combine it and make it an episode of the Cultural Hall. Mind blown. If you are in need of a DJ at all, or someone in your families get married, would like to be able to talk to me, I would love to be able to talk to them. It's bestdjinutah.com.
Hi friends, Dan the Laptop Man here from PC Laptops. I get a lot of emails from people all the time. Here's one. Dear Dan, I hear your talk about a lifetime service guarantee. Free? Really? Please help me avoid all your fine print and be honest about what free means. You understand that we should be very wary of a free offer. Signed, Skeptical. Hi, Skeptical. I remember 22 years ago when we started PC Laptops and our lifetime service guarantee, people thought it was too good to be true. Well, after a decade, people started believing me a little bit. But it's been 22 years of having the privilege to serve our friends and neighbors like you. Our lifetime service guarantee has become the most trusted warranty in the industry. You can get a brand new PC Laptops desktop computer for $799 with a lifetime warranty. Check us out at PCLaptops.com. That's PCLaptops.com. Here's to seeing you soon, Skeptical.
Here in the second half of Articles of News, we do actual articles of news, but hold on. I forgot one personal thing that I should have shared. I'm apparently old enough now that I need to get a colonoscopy. Didn't know. Gonna do it. Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. The only thing, whenever I say colonoscopy, it's like a Pavlovian response. Whenever I say colonoscopy, I'm being serious when what pops into my mind is, here's looking up your old address. Anytime I say colonoscopy, he's getting a colonoscopy, huh? Yep, here's looking up your old address.
Well, funny, one of the doctors I was at this past week said, hey, you haven't had this done yet. You should get one. I'll have my office call. We'll schedule one at our facility here. Let's see if we can get like a buy one, get one half off.
Yes.
We could do it together.
I could do it. You know what? I'm not sure what device they use, but let's not have them clean it, and that way no. Is that isn't what you're suggesting?
Unless you want them to start with me.
Yeah, no, I go first.
Oldest to youngest. Gee.
No,
Doc, save some money.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Don't change the gloves.
Yeah. Don't charge us those $35 rubber gloves that you have to change.
I don't know why Brent wouldn't pay for this.
Yeah. See, the thing is, this wasn't the issue. He has no problem with this kind of stuff. I am dreading it. Do you have a certain amount of dread for it?
Yes, I'm terrified.
Yeah. I've been more terrified of like tooth issues, like because they don't knock you out, do they?
I don't know. I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you just get sort of uncomfortable. So like that doesn't scare me. And when I first got home from my mission, I had to have a rectal testicular exam or something like that was fairly invasive, and I don't remember it being altogether that terrible. The thing that I'm afraid of and really just, I don't know, dreading is I got my pre-operative instructions yesterday. And do you know what you have to do?
What?
You have to clean everything out. And it's not like it's not like they give you a brush. You have to drink a bottle of Miralax in a 24-hour period.
I actually have here a 26-second instructional video. If you'd like to see it.
No, I would not. No, I would not.
You don't want?
No.
I think it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It is.
Okay. All right.
Let's see if this helps for your upcoming appointment.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
We don't want to do that. So, my kidneys feel a lot better in this position. Maybe it's just that I'm not doing any calisthenics. If I did some sit-ups in the morning or bent over like this, I'd probably feel 100% better. Moon River. Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time?
Breathe easy.
Breathe easy. You using the whole fist, Doc?
Just relax.
So that's what you can expect here.
Is that Fletch?
Yes,
Yeah.
That's Fletch.
I really thought you had an instructional video. You suckered me right into that.
Well, I thought that would be... Well, that was everything you need to know. What to expect.
Yeah, I'll have a gown. Yes. I'll lean over a table. Sure.
Doctor.
I think a doctor will be present. Not likely. It'll be an internist or someone. I think it's a fairly easy procedure, but maybe not. I think you actually lay down on your tummy tums.
That's what Fletch was doing there. Chevy Chase was on his stomach.
No, he's leaning over.
Yeah, well, you will tell us how it goes.
Yeah.
We want details.
Yeah. I'll just scare you out of yours. The other thing is, I think that if you still call it a tummy tums, you're probably too young to be getting a colonoscopy. Let's do some actual articles of news. Hit it, Peter.
You can't lose articles of news.
And away we go. Hey, public service announcement. Are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Stay away from LDS church parking lots.
Really?
Yes, they are a hotbed of iniquity, danger.
Well, I think people might be going now just for something to do.
No. Stay very away from church parking lots. Are you ready for this?
What's going on?
Lots of things, more than one story. Utah County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to Eagle Mountain, which is a suburb of Utah County. A female, identified as 30-year-old Bailey Richanne Moore, was reportedly observed talking on the phone inside the church, describing the layout and what doors were open, then left the church and was seen entering into an SUV and removing a small purse through the passenger door. When the witnesses confronted Moore about the purse, she threw it into the bushes. Yoink! And according to a probable cause statement, law enforcement spoke to the owner of the vehicle, who was reportedly attending an event at the church. The owner told the police that no one had been given permission to get into the car. When asked about the incident, Moore refused to speak with law enforcement, according to the statement. Once transported to the Utah County Jail, when the deputy said she was being detained on suspicion of burglary of a vehicle, she reportedly said, "Just for throwing a purse in the bushes? I didn't steal it. I just threw it in the bushes." Okay.
Keeping it safe.
So that's the first story from an LDS church parking lot. A man tried to steal a truck from an off-duty police officer this past Friday, immediately after being released from jail. Detention officers at Shoal Creek Patrol Division had been ordered to release Lewayne Zundell, a 63-year-old white man. A little bit before noon, he was being held on an unrelated incident. About 2 blocks away, a 26-year-old police officer who was off duty was with his 58-year-old dad picking up a trailer in the parking lot of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The father parked his truck. Both he and his son got out to hook up the trailer, were standing at the rear of the truck, left the engine running, and Lewayne jumped in the front and tried to steal the truck from the parking lot. The victim told Zundell that he was an off-duty officer, but the suspect kept his foot on the accelerator while he assaulted the victim and tried to gouge his eyes.
Lewayne.
The victim was able to get his foot on the brake pedal, at which point his father was able to pull the suspect out of the truck. His son came tumbling down on top of the suspect. Father and son held the suspect down until police officers showed up. All right, so you're thinking, what, is that it? There couldn't possibly be a third story from the last week about an LDS church parking lot.
I'm sure that's it.
No.
Am I wrong?
You are an ignorant pile, Brother Kyle.
Jeez.
For some reason, I'm very aggressive at you today. I apologize.
No kidding.
The Oconee County Sheriff's Office, this is in South Carolina, said an investigation into a shooting on Wednesday led to a suspect's arrest. Deputies say that the suspect, 24-year-old Darren Larry Young II, was booked into the detention center at 3 a.m. Young was charged with attempted murder and possession of a weapon during commission of a violent crime in connection to the incident. According to deputies, they received a call around 8:49 p.m. regarding a man lying in the middle of Mormon Church Road with a gunshot wound. Deputies also received information regarding a suspect vehicle that fled the scene. Deputies say that when they arrived, they discovered the victim lying on the side of the road. They began to administer first aid to a gunshot wound on his leg. The victim was transported to hospital by paramedics. They go on to say no information about the victim or when he may be released. Stay away from a church parking lot.
No kidding. I got frisked in a church parking lot before when I was 16, 17.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
We got pulled over, a group of us skateboarding in a car, and they thought we were suspicious, so they pulled us over, got us all out, up on the car, hands up on it, frisked us down, searched the car as we laughed and mocked.
How did you skateboard in a car? You said you were skateboarding
we
in
were
a car.
skateboarding, then we got into our car, and we're driving, and went through a parking lot and got pulled over.
I was going to say cars were bigger back in the day, but I didn't think you could skateboard in a car. That's much true.
No, the steakhouse, actually. I still drive by my old steakhouse where I got frisked.
You lean over to your son in the passenger seat. See that? That's where Dad got frisked. I remember this is immediately when I got back from my mission. I would go to the seminary, the nighttime seminary. Or not seminary, institute. And I met this girl that I really liked. And one time we went to institute, and then we got to talking after class. And then after talking, we got to kissing in the parking lot of the institute. Oh my
goodness! Are you serious?
Yeah, of course. We're probably into kissing about 20 minutes or so, and we get this like. And we're like, oh. And it's a cop. I don't know how we missed a cop, coming up to the car.
I know how.
Rolled down the window. He said, this is technically a lewd act, which is punishable of like time in jail and $1,500. Now, they would have never done that. But by definition, making out in a car is technically a lewd act. And I was like, okay, thank you, officer. Thanks for the great institute class. See you later. And I still occasionally drive by that institute building, and I lean over to my wife and I say, "Thank you so much for being my wife." And she says, "What?" And she says, "What's that for?" And I say, "Oh, nothing." What stories do you have, Brother Kyle?
So the Tony-winning Book of Mormon musical, it's coming back to the stage in November. Mm-hmm. But they are tweaking the script. Now, guess why?
Well, it's racist and offensive, but...
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the offensive stuff towards Latter-day Saints. It is because of some things deemed as racist.
Yeah.
And the cast has signed a thing to the writers and said, we would like you to change this. And so they are tweaking that script for when it comes back.
Yeah, that was a big pushback. I know for members of the church that have seen it. And we've done old episodes. You can check it out where we found people who converted actually to the faith after they had seen the Book of Mormon musical. So it's worth to check out those episodes. People really liked it, but some people said this is offensive, this is filth, and those were members of the church. But other people really pushed back and said, yeah, they're equal opportunity offenders, but there is a racist undertone to this. So it'll be interesting to see how in South Parkian, verbiage that they adjust the end, because that's what I would assume that they probably do, or adjust the script in general to be still as entertaining and less racist. So yeah. Let's go here, shall we? Do you know what Bill Gates and the LDS Church has in common?
I think we both want some land.
Yes.
We're fighting over.
Fighting for Easter Day farmland.
Oh, that's right. Easter. It's where we raise the bunnies.
Yeah, exactly. The church very big into Easter bunnies. It's what we do with some of our tithing, our rainy day funds. This is in the Columbia Basin. It's 12,000 acres that went up for sale after one of the largest farmers in the Northwest filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Here's what's fascinating about this. Two things. One, I drove by this place the other day, and I didn't realize that was where that was until this moment. Two, the Farmland Reserve, the two prospective buyers with the most buying power are Farmland Reserve's Agra Northwest, which is owned by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and Bill and Melinda Gates' Cottonwood Ag Management. The highest bidder will obviously be the one that will get the property. The deal will undergo a hearing in federal court on July 14th. And as an update to this, the LDS Church was the highest bidder. If it goes through the federal courts, they are in fact the highest bidder. In January, Tyson Foods filed a lawsuit against Easter Day Farms for allegedly bilking the company out of about more than $225 million. The lawsuit targets Easter Day's beef supplying division for reportedly falsifying records and submitting faked invoices for more than 200,000 cattle. That's what led them to bankruptcy and why it's available for the church to purchase. We continue to buy things up. Your turn, Brother Kyle.
So you've heard of a young man. Well, I don't know how young anymore. David Archuleta.
Yeah, not as young as you'd think. Like 30, I think.
Yeah. So he rocketed to fame in 2008. He was a finalist, not the winner, on a TV talent show. Singing for the Stars. Is that what it was?
The Gong Show. Close. It was the Gong Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he didn't win, but people loved him. So he became very famous for that, has released albums. He came out to the public recently as a bisexual person.
Well, I think technically what he said was like maybe bisexual.
He said the spectrum of bisexual.
And maybe like homosexual and maybe like asexual. Like these are not his words, obviously, but
yeah. Well, his words were, I've learned I don't have much sexual desires and urges as most people. So kind of that asexual. He came out to his family in 2014. So his family is known, but just out in public. I like David. I'm not a huge fan of his music, but I've always liked the guy. So don't take this joke wrong, but I would say I pulled this from the category of duh.
Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of people, and even when I had the opportunity to interview him a little while back,
yeah,
like there was a point in the interview because I thought it was public knowledge because I know a few people kind of connected to him.
Right.
That I almost asked him a question about it, and then I recognized that within the confines of what we were talking about with his particular episode, that it wouldn't have been appropriate or pertinent to what we were talking about. But when this happened, and when he came out and said this, and again, it's on an Instagram. You can find all the links to these at theculturalhall.com, the show notes in association with this episode. I kind of went, I thought he had done this.
Yeah, I did too.
So it wasn't like a thing where I'm like, he's, kind of that yesteryear thinking of, he's gay, right? That we, like in the 80s and 90s, we totally did that. And I look back at that as just a foreign, just crazy time. But yeah, I just thought it was something that he had already done and already said. I did like this. He added as part of his post, he said, I think we can do better as people of faith and Christians, including Latter-day Saints, to listen more to the wrestle between being LGBTQIA+ and a person of faith. I don't think it should come down to feeling that you have to accept one or the other. For me to find peace, the reality has been to accept both are real things that I experience and make me who I am. You can be part of the LGBTQIA+ community and still believe in God and his gospel plan. And I appreciated that, because I think the narrative is that there are a lot of people that don't feel like it can be both, and it's nuanced and it's individual. And if people make the choice to leave the church, I think that can be their choice. And if they make the choice to stay in the church, that's obviously their choice as well. But I don't think it does have to be one or the other. And quickly, I think we're going to find more and more people who might find themselves in this situation. There's an article from Jana Reese. The headline is 1 in 5 young adult Mormons, or members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, in the United States are gay, lesbian, or bisexual. So that's more than a fifth of Generation Z do not self-identify as heterosexual, according to a major national study. The Nationscape dataset, which canvassed more than 318,000 Americans on a rolling basis in 2019 and 2020, had 3,881 self-identified members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in the survey. One of the most valuable aspects of the data is what it can tell us about basic demographics of the LDS population, including gender, race, geography, and sexual orientation. Not surprisingly, there is more sexual diversity among younger Latter-day Saints than older ones. 94% of boomers said that they were heterosexual, whereas 77% of Generation Z did. So 23% of Gen Zers who identify as LDS say they are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or other, and nearly as many, 19%, of millennials did as well. Jana says, it's notable that this finding is nearly double the 10% that Benjamin Knoll and Jana Reese found in their survey that they did in 2016, the Next Mormons survey. That obviously they did their book. They based their book on that research. Some people, and I think it may be time that we get Jana Reese back into the show to be able to break some of this down for us, and maybe Ben as well, to be able to find out what that really means. If they just don't consider themselves heterosexual, does it mean that they feel that they are, same-sex attracted, or are they in fact out and lesbian or gay or bisexual? What those mean, and that's some of the push that I've seen on the internet is all these terms are so sort of loose. What do they actually mean as people define them? So maybe it's time we get Jana back here in the Cultural Hall. Among all Americans, heterosexuality was 87% for Hispanics, 90% for blacks, but among Mormons, it was 71% for Hispanics and 74% for blacks. It's a statistically significant difference because the sample size is big enough that it's not just a random sampling error. So it's not clear why black and Hispanic Mormons are less likely to be heterosexual than their non-LDS counterparts. So maybe it's an opportunity for us to get Jana in, find out a little bit more about that. Look for something like that in a future episode of The Cultural Hall. What else do you have, Brother Kyle?
So this story actually ended up affecting me. I'll tell you how.
Okay.
So when the church gave its blessing to a compromise legalizing medical marijuana in Utah, after voters approved it, it provided a green light for other states, red states, to do the same thing, according to a recent Politico story. So once these other more, Republican conservative states saw that Utah was legalizing medical marijuana, they have started to do so, following kind of our plan of attack, or our guide, being less afraid of it just being a gateway to legalizing recreational marijuana.
Right.
So I was
just going to say, it's worth noting. So some of the story around this is there was a medical marijuana in the state of Utah. We can kind of vote on things and then make them come into pass. When that was going to be on the ballot, the LDS Church, to every member of the church who had an email on record, sent an email that said, "Don't vote for this. We don't want you to vote for medical marijuana." Some people felt like that was an overstep. Other people were like, "Yeah, you bet. That's where we're at." So then it went to the ballot, and voters in the state of Utah, members of the church, many of them, said, "No, we should legalize medical marijuana." And so at that point is when the church got far more involved in saying, "Okay, guys, listen, it's coming. Let's help craft this so that it's what we want and not a gateway for the just, use it however you want." So that's a little backstory for it. So how does this impact you?
Yeah. So in one of my very many doctor visits, as I continue to do that and more testing on my body to see what the crap is wrong with me, I've seen some different types of doctors, including one this past week, who gave me a card allowing me to purchase cannabis, or medical marijuana, if you will. I have not done this, but I can legally now do that. I don't know that I will.
With what is the thought that it might help with the speech that you've got going on? Or I know you have eye issues as well, and typically medical marijuana can help with like some glaucoma and some of those things. So what is it?
It is, so they think contributing to my speech issue is a very high anxiety and depression. And so this is just one of many thoughts. This is why I haven't pursued it yet, is that I'm like, I want to see if this would do anything. I want to research more into it. But she said, "I want you to be able to do it if you want to. Here's what you do. I think it would help you." And so that's where I was with it. So it's still in kind of a figuring out stage, but I can if I want. I can buy weed, dude. I mean, I'm joking about this, but really I can.
Sure.
And so I don't know where I'm going, what I'm going to do with it, but anyway, yeah. So
two things about that. One, is there a part of you, and be honest, is there a part of you that maybe just wants to go and buy it and not even use it, but just to be like, yeah, I just scored me some medical marijuana? Because that would be me. That would be me.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, they said, you should really drive to Wendover, or if you're near Vegas, go here because it's so much better. You'll have more selection. It's better. People are more knowledgeable. The temptation is sometime when I'm down and say, "George, roll over, buy some, hang it out the window as I'm driving back on I-15, get pulled over and go, doink, license, buddy." But yeah, there is some thought of like, just so I can say I did it, I might do it.
And then the second half of that is, and this will show everyone who's listening my expansive knowledge of medical marijuana use. Doesn't it make you more anxious? Like Reefer Madness, the old musical. That's one point that I have of reference for medical marijuana. Also, we had a great episode number 420 of the Cultural Hall, where we talked all about medical marijuana and its use and members of the church. But I just don't know more, much about it. The obvious stereotypes of the munchies, but doesn't it make you anxious that like people are out to get you and that kind of stuff?
There are different strains and different types of this. And it is evidently most of this of what would be prescribed to me is very low in THC. Like she's like, you could take a ton of it and probably wouldn't be high.
Yeah.
And so it's how they grow. It's the strain. It's the type. and how much you take is supposed to help. So that's why I'm looking more into it. I might make some phone calls and find out, but I'll let you know.
Sure.
I'm open with it. I'll let everybody know what happens.
I think his last name is Fraudsham, and that's not a joke. I'm pretty sure I make that joke. His last name is Fraudsham. Nathan is his first name. He runs an LDS group for medical marijuana. He would be a great resource, and if he or Maggie or anybody else is listening to that, get in touch with us, contact@theculturalhall.com, and I'll forward that along to Brother Kyle as he kind of goes down that path, that discovery, that journey. This from West Jordan, Utah. Vandals caused some $50,000 in damages to an LDS church in West Jordan. The fire department actually got dispatched. Someone was reporting that there was a large amount of smoke coming out of the window. When they got there, it wasn't actually smoke. It was chemicals like out of a fire extinguisher when you discharge it. They discovered that had been done. Then they saw the other damages. Officers spoke with witnesses who lived nearby and determined that they had seen 3 younger boys, described as middle school age, leaving the church. The witnesses did not have names given to them, but they were frequented in the area and allegedly causing problems. These are the problem kids. As far as the damage in the church, once they started documenting that, it was pretty extensive. They broke out 15 to 20 windows, smashed a glass door, punched holes in drywall, tore down suspended ceilings in places, drew lewd pictures on the walls with markers, broke pictures, turned pianos upside down, broke toilets, and caused some flooding. Those are some punk middle school-aged kids.
No kidding.
Let's do this. This is a Mormons behaving badly.
Again?
This is Mormons behaving badly.
Now, this is a story from a couple years ago, but it's an update. If you remember, a South Jordan man convicted of extorting teenage girls on social media. Sometimes it's called sextortion.
Yep, that's right.
Gabe Gilbert. He was taken into custody on 9 felony charges because he had asked a minor to send him naked photos back in 2018. The girl declined, told authorities, and then investigators discovered 50 potential victims of the same kind of sextortion. So they go to pick him up. They go to his house where he should be living. Nope, he's serving a mission. And so they had to bring him home, take him to court, and Gilbert was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree felony aggravated sexual extortion of a child and 4 counts of second-degree felony sexual exploitation of a minor. While prosecutors recommended he serve 5 years in prison, Gilbert was sentenced to terms of 5 years to life in state prison for each of the first-degree felonies. For each of his second-degree felonies, he was sentenced to 1 to 15 years in prison, and all counts run concurrently. So Gilbert has been recommended to be eligible for parole in 5 years, according to court records, and that 5 years be the maximum amount of time that he serves in prison. Remains to be seen, but it could be out in as little as 5 years. I want to go... What other ones do you have, Brother Kyle?
Well, I have one more.
Okay, hang on.
Lighten it up.
Yeah, hang on to that one. We're going to end with all of those because I think that's exciting. Hoping to get Lavi Maunga into the Cultural Hall. She gave birth. She's a member of the church. Gave birth on a Delta flight.
I saw that.
She says God's hand was 100% in what transpired. She and baby are safe. Able to deliver, and I don't want to tell too much of the story because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to get her into the Cultural Hall to be able to talk about this. But I thought it was interesting. They don't mention this in the article, and again, you can find the links at the culturalhall.com. But the name of the baby. Do you know what she named the baby?
Delta?
Yes, Delltuh. Delta. In that fine way of Utah spelling that we do, she named her baby Delta. No, she didn't.
This is not a joke.
No, it's a joke. It's 100% a joke.
Darn it.
Darn it. Before we get to your story, let me do this last one. This was awesome. The First Presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the NAACP announced new educational and humanitarian initiatives related to their ongoing collaboration. Remember, a couple years ago with the B1 celebration, with the 40th anniversary of the restoration of priesthood to all individuals, there was the B1 celebration and the announcement of this collaboration with the NAACP. Well, they are furthering that to support the group's educational goals. The global faith leader, that being President Nelson, announced the church's commitment to fund a $1 million scholarship donation per year for 3 years, or $3 million, overseen by the United Negro College Fund. President Nelson also shared the church's plans to provide $250,000 for an Amos C. Brown Student Fellowship to Ghana. Together, President Nelson explained that the two entities are going to help bring relief to suffering souls in underprivileged areas of the United States. So in addition to those things I previously mentioned, the President Nelson pledged a $2 million church contribution per year for the next 3 years, or $6 million, to encourage service and help to those in need. So NAACP, President Nelson got together and announced this, and so it's going to be exciting to be able to see these things kind of roll forth. This collaboration. A lot of people, when he first did the photo op with the NAACP and spoke at their convention, a lot of people thought, oh, this is for the picture, this is for the buzz headline, and has definitely put church's money where his mouth is. And if you believe that to be the mouth of God, which you should, it's prophet of God, then he's putting the church's money where God's mouth is. So pretty cool. Yeah. Now, let's get to your story.
One thing that I used to love, was FYI. Or ESY.
ESA? AS?
Yes.
ASPCA?
Yes, all of that. But our version of it, after a 2-year pandemic-induced hiatus or absence for the Strength of Youth Conference, will resume in the U.S. and Canada in 2022. So not this summer, not right now, a year from now. We'll go back to in-person, go to a camp or a college dorm where we used to have it, and we'll do these. So teens beginning the year they turn 14 will be able to participate as assigned with their congregations every other year. They do this. I forgot that was every other. All right. FSY conference, which is held outside of the U.S. and Canada, are modeled after BYU's ESY gathering. So those will continue also, 2022 and 3.
It's pretty cool. I never went to an EFY or anything like that. Did you, Brother Kyle?
I did, yeah.
And did you like the dances, or did you like the scripture study? What did you like about them?
At the time, I probably hated it. The most recent one I went to, I was a young adult leader. So I went.
You were an EFY counselor?
I was in the young men's leadership, and so I went with our young men.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems like a poor choice by the bishop.
Oh, you haven't. Don't even get people started on questioning their faith and divine intervention.
You've never met a guy that loves people more than Brother Kyle, so that's just a joke.
Twice over the past probably 2 weeks, I've had people. I've been out with our youth mountain biking, and two occasions people have said, "He's your leader." This guy.
This guy here.
From people we've run into that know me.
This guy,
like friends
Kyle?
of mine. Yeah,
Kyle, Brother Kyle.
One up above Salt Lake City, one in Park City, are like, this is your guy. You follow this guy around. So, yes, you're correct in questioning that.
Super cool about way things are getting restored. So in addition to that, the Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square is going to go back on tour in 2022. They will leave Salt Lake City on June 16th, 2022, and return on the 7th. They're going to perform in Stockholm, Helsinki, Copenhagen, Oslo, Edinburgh, Newport, South Wales, and Cardiff, Wales. So they're going back on tour. They got to tour the new album. Got to buy the new album. They got to tour it.
Yeah.
Also about Temple Square, you can now go to Temple Square and do in-person tours. Most of this will take place over at the Conference Center, which is technically Temple Square, but it is open now for in-person tours. That opened up,
really?
Yeah, just last week. There's still a lot of construction, so if you're like, oh, it'll be just like before. No, it won't be. You're wrong. Try again. Think about it some more. On the 6th of July, the Assembly Hall and Tabernacle and Family History Library will reopen. Also, on the 2nd of August, the Beehive House and Church History Museum and Store will reopen. The following exhibits are available at the Church History Museum, worth note. The Heavens Are Opened, Sisters for Suffrage, Mormon Trails, Presence of the Church, and Temples. The Earth. So encourage you to go and check those out now that those are available, because here's the thing. I was talking to someone right before we did this. In Disneyland right now, Disneyland is only allowing like 33% or 40% of capacity. These first few days of like Temple Square being open, Family History Library, all those kind of things being opened, like that's the time to go, because guess who's not going to be there? Everyone. If you hate everyone, go when not everyone is there.
If you hate everyone, go now.
This was cool too, and I can't remember if we talked about it in our last articles of news, so I wanted to make sure we mention it. The Hill Cumorah pageant, we talked about how it's not coming back. Sort of sad. I wanted to go, be able to check it out, but I'm not going to be able to because they're not doing it again. The infrastructure for the Hill Cumorah pageant, bunches of buildings and light towers and a parking lot and all these things, and had essentially turned it into almost like a spectacle, right? A yearly spectacle, but took away from kind of the sacred and rustic-ish, peaceful, contemplative nature that Hill Cumorah was previously. So they're ripping all that stuff out, taking it down. They're going to reforest it. They're going to try and get it to be much more like it would have likely been back in the time of the Prophet Joseph Smith. 21 buildings, 400,000 square feet of asphalt and gravel will be out. The Angel Moroni Monument will stay, but it will be regilded. The church will have the visitor center still. The new exhibit will be added in 2023 to mark the 200th anniversary of the Prophet Joseph Smith's first visit to the Hill Cumorah. Plus, they'll just plant a bunch of trees, have hiking trails with different kind of placards for you to be able to read along your way, and it should be a really great experience for those that couldn't go to the Hill Cumorah pageant but will be going there in the future and be able to see those things kind of develop. I've got a last story. Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Temples reopening, phases getting to 3s and 4s, and people being able to go back to the temple, whether for live endowments for yourself for the first time or for those that have passed on. So, as we make a return to the temple, I present for you now a physical and spiritual checklist. This is from the folks over at LDS Living, and I thought this might be a good way to wrap this out. Number 1. Check your temple's status, which I feel like is pretty obvious. Like you'd want to know if the temple you're about to go to is open, can be gone to. I think that's worthwhile. Number 2, you need to make an appointment. And you can do that at churchofjesuschrist.org/temples/schedule/appointment. You can also just find it from the main homepage. These both seem to be kind of obvious, which takes us to our third sort of very obvious one. Find your temple recommend. You still have to have a recommend to get in. Make sure you know where that is. Or in my case, I made it halfway through the recommend process. I got approved by the bishop, and then I had to schedule with the stake president. And at that point, the stake president wasn't doing Zoom interviews. And I just was like, I'm not, this is in the height of COVID. I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go be with a person who is meeting with a new person every 15 minutes in person in a public place. So I didn't do that. Check your temple recommends expiration date. Again, something that you should do. And then the rest of these, I think, are ones that are worth kind of noting. This is the actual need for this checklist. Wash your temple clothes. Likely it's been more than 12 months. Maybe if you wore them before and didn't wash them previously, maybe they might be a little bit ripe, or maybe they don't fit. Maybe you gained or lost a little bit during COVID. Be an opportunity for you to not only wash, but make sure that they fit. Bring a mask. All the temples will be requiring that you wear a mask. You can also, a reminder that you can submit names for the temple prayer roll online, or through the LDS app, the Tools app. You can.
I wonder if the mask has to be white. White.
That is an excellent question. Hold on.
Because, so many are blue on one side or, pink liner or something. So
in some cases, you won't have to wear a mask, but they encourage you to bring a mask free of graphics or labels just in case. So maybe a mask of color is fine, just not with like labels or sayings or things like that.
Yeah.
You can print your family cards at home, the names that you might be going through the temple for. You can do that. Then the final three, and then we wrap this out, Brother Kyle. Talk to your family about how excited you are to be able to return to the temple, whether that's online or in person. Be able to create family home evenings and or discussions within your home about it. Study the importance of the temple. There's a great link in this article of where you can find out some great resources about the significance, and really be able to get as much from your first time back as you possibly can. And the last recommendation I really appreciate, and when I go back to the temple here pretty soon, I will take into consideration as well. It's go to the temple seeking. When we go, we attend. It's great. It can be a great experience, but just like with prayer, just like with general conference or even church on Sunday, if we go, we're looking for an answer, we're asking questions, God can answer when we ask. And sometimes we just sort of do because that's what we're supposed to do, or because now the temple's open and it's so exciting and I can't wait to go back and get my picture taken in front of the temple and show all my people on social media. But if we go actually seeking an answer, some guidance, asking you shall receive. So I thought that was a pretty pertinent part of that. Brother Kyle, I hope that this episode and your medical marijuana card nourish and strengthen your body.
I hope if I'm sick or afflicted, I can listen next week.
And I hope that when the time comes, you'll be able to travel home in safety. In the meantime, Cake Bites Podcast, Brother Brent, for the time being, and Big Mike's products, we'll be saving a seat for you on the back row of the Cultural Hall. The Cultural Hall. Of the Cultural Hall. Cultural Hall.
I hadn't started yet.
The Cultural Hall.
The Cultural Hall.
Save me a seat, it's sure to be neat.